But I do not wish for you to find yourself in trouble because of me. That is not one of our conditions.
Alessandra touched his hand to stop him from taking the sword with him.
Your father stood there while some man treated you like an animal, and you wish for him not to be harmed? I would not be locked up for killing a baron. I have my ways, said Edgar. Thanks to your last name and connection to the crown, you won't be locked up, but the entire town will talk about you and call you a tyrant. I do not want that to happen. I am not saying I do not want him to die. I want you to do it quietly, and there is no one to see it happening.
Alessandra caught sight of Katrina standing by the front door and James returning. Katrina would cry a river about her husband's innocence and never allow anyone to forget this moment. There was also the issue with their engagement. Although Alessandra accepted Edgar's proposal, her father was now claiming she was going to marry someone else. With there being no announcement nor ring on her finger, her father could send her anywhere he liked. There was no law to stop him as long as he wasn't selling her to the red light district. Edgar was certain Alessandra had not heard all the rumors surrounding him. He was already labeled a tyrant, and killing a baron wouldn't make his reputation worse or better. Still, it was Alessandra's choice when it came to her father's life.
I will take care of it quietly. The other man you can get rid of. He is here to take me to his master to be added to a collection. But my father told me it is another man I will wed. I don't want to run into him again.
Alessandra was terrified of the man who came to pick her up.
Do not leave this carriage unless I call your name,
Edgar instructed her, then closed the door.
Edgar, I believe it would have been right for me to hear what you were talking about with my daughter. There is no need for you to get violent.
Desmond stepped back as Edgar started walking towards them with his sword dragging against the ground.
There was someone who asked for Alessandra's hand before you did. Who?
Edgar asked in a low tone. He was tempted to do as he pleased, but his soon-to-be wife in the carriage would never forgive him if he did. Edgar was trying to follow the lengthy lecture Alfred gave him. It was something along the lines of a happy wife, happy life.
Who are you trying to send my woman to? Didn't I make it quite clear the last time I was here? If a single strand of her hair was out of place, I would kill you. Silly me.
Edgar raised his sword to tap it against his head. Faint red lines formed where the sword grazed his skin.
My memories must be messed up. Careful, Edgar,
Desmond gulped. What sort of madman would tap their head with a sword?
Well, are my memories messed up, Baron? No, but there was a man who came before you, and... Who?
Edgar repeated the word much louder this time.
I saw you, Baron, raising your hand like you wanted to slap her, but now you cower before me. You are no man. I gave you such a simple fucking warning, yet you slapped me in my face. Forgive me.
Desmond dropped to his knees. He clasped his hands together, begging Edgar to spare him this once.
I never intended to disrespect you. You there.
Edgar pointed his sword at Rowan when he started to walk to the other parked carriage.
It would be rude for you to not introduce yourself.
Rowan frowned, slightly annoyed he was brought into the Baron's mess. The Baron had one simple job, to send off Alessandra, and now the Duke was involved. He needed to leave before the Duke could question him about his master.
Allow me to introduce myself, Duke Collins. There seems to be a misunderstanding.
Rowan walked up to Edgar with one hand out for the Duke to shake and another behind his back, hiding his dagger.
I am...
Desmond covered his mouth, tears falling from his eyes as he watched Rowan's head fall to the ground. He could not pinpoint when Edgar had swung his sword to execute Rowan. The only evidence was Rowan's severed head and the rest of his body falling to the ground, staining it with blood.
You should thank Alfred for it being quick and painless. He sent my sword to be sharpened this morning. Alfred might be able to see into the future. Don't you think so, Baron?
Edgar pointed his sword at the next person he wanted to decorate the floor with.
I don't know.
Desmond wept. He knew he would be next for what he did to Alessandra. He could not understand why Edgar was acting like a madman because of his daughter when they only spoke twice. Had he mistaken how quickly Edgar fell in love with his daughter?
Get up, Baron. Get up and look at me the same way you were looking at Alessandra when she was pinned to the ground. Raise your hand to me,
Edgar yelled, frustrated with how much of a coward Desmond was. But yet he stood proud when his own flesh and blood was on the ground, fighting against a man she did not know.
Please spare me. Alessandra!
Desmond called to the carriage for his daughter.
My sweet child. Please come out and tell him to spare me. She has already asked me not to kill you right now. Alessandra, come out.
Edgar called to the carriage. She did not want her father to be killed when there were many eyes watching, but that did not mean he could not be inflicted with some type of pain. Edgar wanted her to stand by his side to watch it happen. Alessandra opened the carriage door, revealing herself with the Duke's coat still covering her head. Her eyes widened at the sight of the man's head a few inches away from the rest of his body. He truly killed him, she thought. Though she told Edgar to kill the stranger, somehow she didn't expect he would. He listened to her words without any hesitation. What else could she ask him to do? It was scary of him to do this much when they were not even married yet. Alessandra wondered what would happen to anyone who offended her when she officially became a duchess. Desmond felt like his life was saved when he saw Alessandra come out to stand next to Edgar. She was not cruel enough to have her own father be killed by the hands of a man she barely knew.
Alessandra, sweetheart, tell the Duke this is all a big misunderstanding.
Sweetheart? Alessandra repeated the one word that stood out to her. She could not remember the last time her father called her this.
You really are a coward, Baron.
She could no longer refer to him as her father.
Alessandra, if we wed tonight, I will have a valid reason for killing your father,
said Edgar. He had many other reasons why he would kill the Baron, but Alessandra did not need to learn how much more corrupted her father was.
I can make a wedding happen by the end of the night.
People will think I'm pregnant, and that is why the wedding was so fast,
Alessandra replied.
People would rather believe that than the possibility of Edgar quickly falling in love with her.
I can get you pregnant by the end of the night, too.
Edgar had a solution to all her problems.
You...
Alessandra did not push herself to argue with Edgar. He was only trying to help her end things with her father tonight. At some point, everyone would realize she was not pregnant, and that was not the reason behind their flash marriage.
Let's get married tonight,
she agreed. Alessandra looked down at the mess she once called father. He was waiting to hear whether or not his life would be spared. Edgar was certain he wouldn't get in trouble for killing a baron, so why was she prolonging this? She was curious to see the extent of Edgar's power.
Alessandra!
Desmond cried, waiting for her to tell the Duke to leave him be.
I give my consent for the Duke to marry you. He will just need to pay for your hand in marriage. Please save me, my child.
Alessandra's eyes watered as she came to a conclusion that wasn't as hard as she thought it would be. Her Her eyes watered not because she would regret this, but due to finally feeling like a weight was going to be lifted off her shoulder.
Kill him. Do it quickly so we can get married before the town guards are alerted.
She instructed Edgar, then turned around to go back to his carriage.
Alessandra.
Desmond muttered in belief.
Alessandra! Alessandra! Alessandra!
Alessandra kept her head high as she listened to the Baron screaming her name until his voice became a faint whisper in the cold night air. Alessandra sat quietly on one side of the carriage while Edgar entered with a bloody sword. Evidence her father was no more. After Edgar sat down directly in front of her, the carriage started its journey to the church for them to get married.
Do you regret it? There is no way to bring him back now,
Edgar said, looking out the window to avoid looking at her. Alessandra was desperately trying to hide her face, so he was trying to give her the privacy she desired.
No, I do not regret it. I am angry with myself for not letting you kill him the first time you offered it. He did not deserve to live another second. I am not surprised he would just stand there and let me be treated that way. He has let his wife and daughter do worse. I should have killed him myself right after you proposed to me.
You were kind enough to give him another 2 days to live. I would rather you not stain your hand with blood. Once you have committed such an act, your mind will never let you forget it. If there is anyone you need to kill, I shall do it for you.
Edgar took out a cloth from his pocket to wipe the blood off his sword.
Thank you. If you had not arrived when you did, I cannot imagine what would have happened. I do not want to be added to anyone's collection. What sort of person adds another person to a collection?
Alessandra wondered. How much did her father hate her to give her up to someone like she was an item to be displayed?
There is one man I know, a collector of many things and a man you should never meet. I will see to it he gets the message to leave you alone. Now, what do I get as a reward?
Edgar asked out of the blue.
Reward?
Alessandra asked. She didn't see what he was in need of a reward for.
I didn't have any plans to kill anyone tonight. Alfred would try to kill me if he knew I killed your father with you around. And then he'll bury me when he learns we're getting married without a proper ceremony. Don't you think I deserve a reward for this?
Edgar questioned, hiding a grin from her.
I suppose it's only fair. I got you mixed up in my family drama,
Alessandra muttered, realizing she would owe him for this. However, what would she give a man who had everything while she had nothing?
I don't have anything to offer you.
She felt ashamed.
It is not a reward I am looking for right now, and anything that needs to hold a high value. As long as you acknowledge you owe me, I shall keep waiting until you have something I see fit to repay me with,
said Edgar.
Okay. If you ever need me to do something for you, please don't hesitate to ask. I owe you more than you can ever imagine, Duke.
Just Edgar.
Edgar sighed, slightly annoyed she was still referring to him as Duke when they were going to get married.
I'm sorry. It's not easy to suddenly start referring to you as Edgar. You have such a grand title.
Alessandra felt odd not referring to him by his title.
My wife should not be referring to me like everyone else. Shall I punish you each time you call me Duke instead of Edgar? I think I would enjoy it.
Edgar had a devious idea in mind.
I do not wish to be punished, Edgar.
Alessandra switched her tune now that there could be a punishment involved.
You have not heard what the punishment is yet. I think you might enjoy what I have in mind.
Alessandra blinked twice, then chuckled when she realized what he was insinuating.
I can see why so many young women are charmed by you. You are quite blunt, and such a flirt, Edgar.
Edgar was highly amused by her reaction. Depending on who he spoke to, he would either receive a flustered look or one full of lust. Instead, Alessandra found his words to be funny.
Are you aware you and I will be sleeping in the same bed? I don't think you'll find it funny then.
I am fully aware, since it is a condition in the contract. But that is not what I was laughing at. You are a man who speaks his mind, not caring how others might view you. I heard you lifted the Baron in the air at his party. I wish I could have been there to see it.
Alessandra pictured how embarrassed her father must have felt.
Considering he is now dead, I cannot show you it, unless you are into that kind of thing. You might find this hard to believe, but it is not rare for me to do something like that. High society is full of pests, which is why I hardly like to socialize. It is only because of the king's orders that I was there that night,
said Edgar. But he was no longer angry with his friend, since his visit to the Baron found him a wife.
Can I ask another question, Edgar?
Alessandra asked, glancing at Edgar from beneath the coat covering her head.
Our conversation has been going so pleasant, I didn't think you would need to ask if you could throw a question my way. How wrong of me to assume we were becoming close.
I'm sorry. It is a habit I will need to grow out of. It's just that... Why haven't you asked me to show you my face?
Alessandra wouldn't mind it, considering he should see the face of the woman he was marrying. It was just out of an instinct for her to hide her face. She had to admit she was afraid he would not want to continue with their contract when she showed her scars. But she had no right to hide her face from him. Edgar had expected this would have been further discussed when they were creating the contract. He didn't make it a condition that he needed to see her face simply because he did not care about what she was hiding.
It is not my business whether you want to show me your face or not. You are the one who said you will change in the future. I can wait until you are truly comfortable. Do not let anyone force you into showing your face when you are not ready.
Alessandra smiled, finding the person who spread rumors about Edgar to be a fool. Maybe she had not seen all of his personality as of yet, but the same could be said by him when it came to her personality. They were both getting to know each other, and from what Edgar showed her so far, she liked it.
You know, Edgar, you have never once scared me.
Really? Shall I change that?
Edgar joked, but his version of a joke inside his head did not come off the same to others.
How about no?
Alessandra denied the offer.
Remember, Alessandra, you are the one who said there would be no love involved. I hope you are not falling for me already. It would be quite concerning, considering I just killed your father. I hope that is not the case.
Edgar was still adamant about not loving anyone, though he found Alessandra to be amusing.
I remember my words clearly. I have not fallen for you, Edgar, and I never will. However, I cannot help being grateful to you and amused by the things you can do without any worry of the consequences.
That was what Alessandra truly believed she felt.
I feel sorry for the priest for disrupting his night just to wed us. I wonder how many couples have visited him late in the night asking to be wed without their friends and family by their sides.
Alessandra said, looking out the window as they passed by homes she was unfamiliar with.
A lot more happens in the night than you could ever imagine. The church is normally open late into the night to welcome anyone in need of shelter, or those couples who are looking to marry behind their families' backs. We can have a big ceremony if you desire it,
said Edgar, though he did not care for it.
There is no need,
Alessandra replied. She preferred a ceremony with just Edgar.
I have no friends nor family to attend my wedding. Anyone who shows up would only be looking to get close to you. Perhaps if your family would like for you to have a proper wedding, I wouldn't mind having another ceremony.
I would rather not have to spend my money feeding and entertaining guests in my home. How we get married does not matter to me. I thought every girl dreams of putting on a wedding dress and walking down the aisle. You would still get to dress up. We need our wedding portrait drawn to be hung up.
Edgar made a mental note to look for one of the best artists in town tomorrow.
I am not like other girls since I have never dreamt of getting married. It is just something I wanted to happen to get away from my family.
For a long time, she did not believe there would be anyone wishing to marry her, so she didn't waste time planning a wedding.
I thought a lot about painting, food I want to try, and places I wanted to visit. I have a long list of those things written down,
she added.
Pick one place you want to go, since we will have time to travel for our honeymoon. I have many homes across the kingdom we can stay in. We are close to the church. If we are lucky, there would be no one around to spread the news of our wedding before I make the announcement tomorrow.
Edgar did not want anyone showing up at his home in the middle of the night trying to congratulate him. He wouldn't be surprised if the king sneaked out of the castle to confirm if the gossip was true. Alessandra also preferred their wedding news to stay quiet for the night. She had a lot to digest, and the last thing she wanted was for people she did not know to visit her and Edgar. She was not in the mental state to prepare herself for the reactions to her being Edgar's bride. After a night's rest, she would be. Probably.
It's a shame your mask fell. I should have collected another one before we came to the church. I don't think there would be a store selling proper masks open at this time,
said Edgar.
What masks are not proper?
Alessandra accidentally asked out loud. A tiny smile appeared on Edgar's lips.
There is a growing business for things couples do in the privacy of their homes. Many people frown upon it, so those businesses are only open at night for adventurous couples. Masks and whips are the most popular items, I hear. Of course, the masks are nothing like what you wear.
And how do you know about all of this?
Alessandra could not help being curious. Their marriage wasn't out of love, and she had no right to stop Edgar from indulging himself in these kinds of things, but she felt the need to ask.
I don't know if you are aware, but I am the one leading the case for the young women who have gone missing. Therefore, I make my business to know everything happening in town.
Alessandra heard her father and the workers speaking of young women going missing. No one had any idea who the culprit could be, and young women were warned to always travel with someone.
This might just be due to what happened a moment ago, but I would keep an eye on the man wanting to add me to his collection. There is something eerie about it.
Smart girl,
Edgar complimented her.
I have a list of men and women I think could be responsible for the women disappearing. Your little suitor is already on it. Stay away from William Lancaster.
William Lancaster.
Alessandra repeated the name as it sounded familiar. Then it clicked.
I have met him many times when I was a child. He would frequent my father a lot and bring me gifts. He is more than twice my age. How could anyone think to hand me off to a man who watched me play as a child? I feel disgusted.
Alessandra's skin crawled the more she thought of the many encounters she'd had with William as a child. Her father did not deserve such a quick death.
It is something that happens behind closed doors. When people who are used to riches are in debt, they would do anything to get money. Your father has paid for what he has done, and I am certain wherever he is now, he is being tortured.
Edgar said to give Alessandra some peace. Edgar began to regret not torturing Desmond instead of giving him a quick death. A quick death was a gift to Desmond. The best possible way to make Desmond's soul restless would be to ruin the one thing he truly loved, his reputation. Alessandra would be shielded from his bad reputation as she would be a Collins in a matter of minutes.
We have arrived at the church. Do you need a moment to yourself?
Edgar added when she gave him no response. She had a lot to think about when it came to her father and what he was going to do to her tonight.
No, I'd rather not be alone. We should hurry inside. Katrina could have sent someone to get the town guards.
Alessandra cleared her throat, pushing what she felt to the side. There was no time for her to sit here and think about her father or what she was feeling. Edgar took her word for it, seeing no point in pushing her to have alone time when she did not want it. He opened the carriage, stepping outside to inspect who was around the church. And once it was clear, he offered his hand for Alessandra to use to come out. Alessandra accepted Edgar's hand to carefully step out of the carriage and used her other hand to keep his coat over her head. She thought about taking off the coat while they were going to be standing before the priest. She didn't want to look back at her wedding and remember using a coat to hide. Alessandra couldn't help looking around every inch of the church, as it was her first visit in a long time. Her memory of the church was blurry, and there was nothing she could remember.
Duke Collins.
A man in a white robe greeted the pair at the church door.
What do I owe for this visit? Whenever you visit the church, I am meant to prepare for a funeral. I hope that is not the case. Depending on how you act, there will be no need for a funeral tonight, Peter.
Edgar greeted the priest.
No blood must be spilled in the church, Edgar. You cannot do it again.
Peter glared at Edgar. Edgar created havoc in the church when he stormed in to kill a man.
That was your fault for hiding a man who committed murder. If you had brought him out, as I requested, the church would not have been a mess. How awful of you to let such a thing happen.
Edgar twisted the situation. Meanwhile, Alessandra was surprised to hear Edgar killed someone in a church. How many times was she going to be surprised by his actions the more she got to know him?
Why are you here, Edgar? There is no one here but the priest, and I am certain they did not kill anyone or commit any other crimes.
Peter wanted nothing more than to get rid of Edgar as soon as possible. Trouble followed wherever Edgar Collins went.
I am here to get married. I would like for you to perform the ceremony right away.
Peter's eyes drifted back and forth between Edgar and the woman hiding her face. After a moment of silence, he started to laugh. However, when Edgar did not seem amused and the woman did not react to the joke Edgar told, Peter's laughter died down.
Why didn't the two of you laugh? Are you seriously here to get married? Do you think I would waste my time coming here for a joke? I don't like to waste my time, Peter. Can you do it? Or does there need to be a funeral and wedding performed by another priest? Do not forget that you owe me,
Edgar said, reminding Peter of his knowledge about his past before he became a priest.
Very well. Are the witnesses outside?
Peter asked, deciding to go through with it to get Edgar out of the church as soon as possible.
You are the witness,
Edgar replied.
That is not how it works, but okay,
Peter muttered, then looked at the woman Edgar brought along.
Why is she wearing a coat over her head? Is she someone important, or perhaps...
Peter waved his hand around his face.
Are you ashamed of her looks? My bad,
he choked as Edgar's hand suddenly wrapped around his throat.
What a strange priest,
Alessandra thought to herself. One thing was for certain. Her wedding night could never be forgotten.
You might need to retire, Peter. Your memory seems to be bad.
Edgar released Peter's throat with a shove. He wasn't in the mood to have anyone else disrespect Alessandra in front of him.
It must be bad. How could I forget? You are here to wed this wonderful woman.
Peter tapped his mouth with his hand, scolding himself for making such a comment.
I apologize for the comment, miss.
I wasn't offended by it. It must be strange for someone to come to get married with a coat covering their head, Alessandra replied.
The church has seen stranger things. Now, hand me the rings.
Peter held out his hand, waiting for the rings to be placed in his palm.
You do have rings, right? Only the engagement ring.
Edgar placed his hand in his pants pocket to fish out the ring he collected a while ago.
Do you like this one?
He showed it to Alessandra.
You haven't shown her the engagement ring yet?
Peter placed his hand on his forehead, almost stumbling backward by how unprepared Edgar was.
If the lady is not pregnant, please come again another time or plan a proper wedding.
Edgar looked behind Peter to a small pile of wires near the altar.
Give me a bit of the wire.
He walked past Peter with the intention of making 2 makeshift rings. He would have proper rings delivered in the morning.
He didn't even say please,
Peter muttered. But with Edgar distracted, he decided to talk to the woman standing beside him.
If you are marrying him just because he is good-looking and rich, think again. I keep telling everyone marriage should only be about love. Are you certain you want to go through with this?
Yes, Alessandra answered. Nothing in this world could change her mind. Peter looked over his shoulder at Edgar, still messing around with the wires.
He can't hear us, you know. You can be honest with me. I took an oath to never repeat what you tell me to anyone else.
I truly want to marry him, but thank you for your concern. Peter sighed, knowing this wouldn't end well. But the young women who visited were always blinded by what they thought was love. They all wanted to get married, but had no idea what they were permanently signing themselves up for. He gave her the chance to think about this, but since she was adamant, he gave up. I would like to ask for one thing. Do you perhaps have proper masks lying around? I don't like to show my face. It doesn't feel right to stand with a coat over my head while you wed Edgar and me. Alessandra wanted to remove the coat altogether and show her face, but could not bring herself to.
There is nothing about this union that feels right,
Peter muttered. He felt like the only sane person here.
You are in luck. Every time there is a masquerade ball, we get a few women and men come here bawling their eyes out, either about the person they love announcing their engagement to someone else, or when it was time to take off the masks, they are shocked by who they have been entertaining all night long.
Peter could never agree with anyone claiming the church to be boring. There was always something odd happening.
No one has ever returned to collect their masks, gloves, or shoes, but we stored them in a box just in case they ever come looking for them. Sometimes people come wearing large hats or veils to hide their identities, so no one would know they are coming to confess their sins. Would you like a veil instead?
Peter found it to be more fitting for the occasion.
Yes, thank you.
Alessandra couldn't be happier the church had such things.
What is your name? I will need to write it down on paper for our records. I've never heard your voice before. Have you never once attended a wedding or funeral?
No, I have never attended either of the two. This is our first meeting. My name is Alessandra Barrett, soon to be Alessandra Collins, she replied.
Alessandra Barrett. Where have I heard that name before?
Peter looked up at the church roof for answers. People claim that I'm cursed and you will die if you...
That's you!
Peter exclaimed, but quickly clammed his mouth shut when he caught sight of Edgar in the distance glaring at him.
Forgive me once again. I am not normally like this, and I never expected you would walk into the church.
Alessandra played with her fingers, suddenly feeling nervous.
Those rumors aren't true. I am not cursed.
Do you want me to leave?
Of course you are not cursed. Only a fool would believe such a thing. Please don't misunderstand my words. I heard the Baron rarely allowed you to leave home, so I never expected to meet you. The church would never send anyone away. We take in any and everyone, regardless of their past.
The church has become a place for criminals to run and hide. Be a little bit more cautious, or you might shelter the person who wants to take your life.
Edgar warned Peter.
I think that person is here right now,
Peter said, followed by a cough as he was referring to Edgar. He always knew if anyone were to kill him, it would be Edgar.
Here you go, Alessandra. I will get the papers and everything else to perform the wedding, so you two can be on your way.
I'm sorry there wasn't another priest available. Peter talks too much. He could talk for days, a skill he used when scamming people before turning over a new leaf.
Edgar loudly spoke to irritate the priest.
We met through him trying to scam me. I almost cut off his hand, and somehow he ended up becoming a priest.
Oh. Alessandra was lost for words. She couldn't connect how Peter went from scamming to becoming a priest.
You don't need to hold on to your past forever. Move on and find something to make you happy. Once we have collected your belongings tomorrow, there is nothing you need to ever revisit with that house, said Edgar.
I know. If I hadn't met you that night and my father told me about going with William, I would have abandoned everything and run away. I don't know where I would have gone as I have no money, but I would never return to that home. My father is gone, and my mother is nowhere to be found.
I am letting go of my life as a Barrett from the moment I say I do. Unfortunately, I know Katrina and Kate will come looking for me.
Alessandra sighed, knowing tomorrow would be chaotic.
I will keep them away from you,
Edgar promised. No one was allowed to step foot on his property without his permission.
No, I will handle them myself. You have already done a lot for me, and as much as it would be easier for you to deal with them, I must handle this on my own. As your wife, many obstacles will be placed in front of me, and I cannot depend on you to solve all of them. I will see to it you don't regret doing this with me,
Alessandra said, fully determined to become a woman who could stand on her own.
I am never going to allow anyone to mistreat me again. And if anyone tries to do the same to you, I might just kill them.
My, what an interesting woman I am marrying.
Edgar chuckled, highly entertained by Alessandra promising to protect him. He was right in thinking back then she would become a woman to flip the town upside down.
I have a feeling our married life will be entertaining.
How can it not be when the rumored monster Duke and the Baron's masked daughter are getting married?
Alessandra could hear the gossip already.
I am ready. You two should make your way to the altar,
Peter said from the altar.
Did I mess up a moment between them?
He wondered after realizing how cozy they looked as they spoke. Alessandra stayed behind to place the veil Peter gave her over her head, while Edgar went ahead. The veil was see-through, but not enough to clearly see her face. Alessandra took a deep breath before walking up to the altar.
I did this. I changed my future,
she said, as she glanced at Edgar while she approached the altar. Offering Edgar a contract marriage was the best thing she ever did in her life. Reality suddenly hit Alessandra how proud of herself she should be for making the move to get out of her childhood home, rather than waiting around for someone else to help her. She opened the door to leave her cage, while Edgar offered her a hand to help her step out of it.
Please turn to look at each other,
Peter instructed the couple once they were side by side. Regardless of his opinion of Edgar, he hoped this marriage would be one full of love. Peter picked up the 2 makeshift rings Edgar created to hand one over to each of them.
One of the richest men in the kingdom, and he gives his bride a ring made of wire.
He couldn't help but shake his head.
Dear friends and family,
Peter began out of instinct, but then paused when he remembered there was no one here for the couple.
Am I supposed to say everything?
He leaned closer to Edgar to ask this.
Skip to the end,
Edgar replied, rolling his eyes as he deeply regretted not going to another priest.
Baroness, I sent someone to get the town guards as you requested,
James informed Katrina while watching her from a distance. It was hard to fathom the Baron was dead. After years of working for the Baron, it was painful to see him dead. However, this was not the case for his wife. James expected Katrina to bawl her eyes out, but the Baroness had not shed one tear. What did he expect from a woman who ordered him to slowly poison her husband?
Was she never in love with him?
James thought. Even though she wanted the Baron dead, he thought she would at least have some ounce of love to show the Baron right now. Katrina looked like a stranger who stumbled across the Baron. Good. When they come, tell them the Duke killed my husband and this man, Katrina ordered James. James was truly surprised to hear she was going to tell the guards the truth. He expected Katrina to lie about what happened or claim she saw nothing and found her husband like this after searching for him. Was she now abandoning all hope for Kate to get with the Duke?
Why?
James couldn't help but ask.
Your daughter wishes to be with the Duke.
Only a fool would get in a battle between Edgar Collins and William Lancaster. Besides, Edgar seems crazy enough to openly admit he killed my husband and expose my lies if I were not to tell the truth. Do not mention anything about Alessandra being sent to William. That was meant to be a secret. Remember, your life is in my hands. Don't think because my husband is dead, you are free from what I am holding over your head. This is the time when you should be sticking close to me. I will fix this house and regain its glory. I will need a good butler beside me. Katrina looked over her shoulder at James. Make sure you do well when the guards come. She'd met many men like James who act innocent, but like everyone else, they wanted to elevate themselves by any means possible. She knew James was smart enough to seize the opportunity she was presenting him.
Yes, Baroness.
James bowed slightly. A woman who would watch her husband of 17 years die and not show an ounce of sorrow was not someone he was going to play around with. Now that the Baron was gone, everything would be under Katrina's control. He wasn't certain how she could fix the state of the house, but he had a feeling there was something up Katrina's sleeve. She wouldn't have killed her husband if she did not have a solution for digging herself out of their financial hole. Trying to expose Katrina would do him no good. If he somehow succeeded, no socialite would hire him as a butler, since they liked workers who wouldn't squeal on them. He would have to work a job that wouldn't pay enough to feed himself and his family. He would never forgive Katrina for how she set him up, but he had to think about his livelihood.
All of my peers are doing better than me. I should join them,
James concluded. Katrina was slightly annoyed that she had to go to the servants' quarters to trap James, only for her husband to be killed at the hands of another person the next day. Still, she got what she wanted in the end. Her husband was now gone, and the property belonged solely to her. Mother! Why are you outside when it's so freezing cold? Have they taken Alessandra? His head... Kate stumbled back, overcome with fear as her eyes went to a man with his head cut off. What's going on? She looked to her mother for answers. James kept his head down, avoiding eye contact with Kate as her dead father was not yet in her view.
Would she react to her father's death?
He wondered. Kate, I need you to not react when you see this. Katrina walked up to Kate and placed her hands on Kate's shoulder to calm her down. She knew how much Kate loved her father, and seeing him dead was going to shake her up. Not react? There is a man without a head in our path, Mother. What on earth happened? Wasn't someone supposed to come and take Alessandra away? Did she flip out and kill someone? I want to hear it from my father. Did he go along with her? Kate started looking around for her father to get the good news. Alessandra was finally out of their hair, and now she could be with Edgar as it always should have been. Kate wrapped her arms around her body as the night air nipped at her skin. She didn't understand why James and her mother were so quiet when they had finally gotten rid of Alessandra. Kate, listen to me. Your father is dead. Mother, that is a ridiculous joke to make at this time of night. If you and Father are arguing, resolve it instead of saying nonsense. Kate glared at her mother. Normally, her mother wasn't one to care for those kinds of jokes. Do not look at me like that, Kate. See for yourself. Katrina pointed to where her husband was lying with a hole in his chest. Kate stepped forward, following the direction her mother was pointing, now noticing the second body spilling blood onto the ground. Father? She gasped, rushing to his side to check his condition. He cannot be dead. Father! Kate kneeled down to his level, expecting him to be okay, and her mother only mistaken. Kate shook her father's body to wake him up to receive help. He is dead, Kate. Things didn't go as planned. Well, obviously, Kate yelled at her mother with eyes full of tears. Her father was not responding to her touch, but she failed to believe he was truly gone. They had not had a good conversation after she stormed away from the table. Her father was not meant to be like this. Alessandra did this, didn't she? She was never grateful. Hunt her down and kill her. It was not Alessandra. It was the Duke who killed him. You have to let go of him now, Kate. I will find you a better man, Katrina promised her daughter. They all underestimated how much Edgar cared for Alessandra. It was better for Kate to chase after someone else. The Duke? Kate did not believe her mother. Why would Edgar kill her father? Was her mother implying he did it for Alessandra? This is not the Duke's fault. It is Alessandra's. She must have placed a spell on Edgar. If she had gone quietly, he wouldn't be like this. Kate closed her father's eyes. There was no doubt in her mind this was all Alessandra's fault. Where is Alessandra? Did she run away after seeing her father like this? We have to bring her back, Mother. Katrina sighed, placing her hand on her forehead. She did not have time to deal with Kate when the guards could arrive at any second. Alessandra has gone with the Duke. His carriage left after this all happened. It's impossible to bring her back now. What? She's gone with the Duke? Kate's sadness for her father was replaced with anger from Alessandra taking what belonged to her. You just let her leave? I was supposed to go live with the Duke. Kate stood up from her father's side to approach her mother. Kate, we have more important things to deal with. Give up on Edgar. There must be something wrong with his head to do this and take Alessandra with him. I will find someone else, someone better than Edgar. Let's focus on your father first. Why? You don't even look upset by his death, Mother. Are you? Kate's words were silenced by pain on her cheek and a buzzing sound in her ears. The man I have been married to for 17 years has just been killed, and I am pushing myself not to break down because I have a daughter to remain strong for and a house to deal with on my own. Don't you think I wish to cry too? Tears started to run from Katrina's eyes. Kate immediately felt guilty for saying such a thing to her mother. She was so angry with Alessandra leaving and heartbroken about her father's death that she had not realized the gravity of what she was saying to her mother. I'm sorry, Mother. They were meant to give her father a proper send-off before worrying about anything else. Alessandra would be dealt with sooner than she might realize. When the Duke tosses Alessandra out of his home, Kate would be ready to make her life a living hell. In the distance, the sounds of horses galloping and men yelling were heard. The town guards are here, Baroness, James alerted Katrina. Kate, run inside, quickly. Now, Katrina yelled after Kate wouldn't move. Kate did not understand why she could not be around when her mother would speak to the guards. This was her father lying dead on the ground. Still, she knew how her mother could get when she was angry and decided to go inside to wait for what her mother would say later. Katrina watched Kate hurry off back inside the home. She then continued to force out tears to play the role of a wife grieving for her dead husband.